It's a beautiful Wednesday, August 27th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, always a good time. And we've got a football game on Saturday, Ted.
Finally here, baby. It's not here yet, but you could taste it, Gabe. It's right around the corner.
And we've got some football weather for Saturday. How about that?
Dude, I'm telling you, I am so thrilled about that. It's got to be now. We talked about this on the radio show. It's got to be one of the coolest weather openers we've had. They used to start like at the end of September, so it's a little bit different. But for recently, this is amazing.
I am giddy about it. Even if we get like a little drizzle, I'm fine with that. I'll take that over 100 degrees any days of the week.
All day. All day. Not worried about that. Hell, it may be welcomed, whenever it comes.
So we broke down the depth chart on an In the Weeds, and you can go check that out on our YouTube channel. If we did that in addition to everything we like to do on our preview episodes, it would have been a very robust podcast. So go check that depth chart.
They all end up that way anyways.
That's true. So go check out that depth chart breakdown on our YouTube channel. And I think this is the first time we've had the head coach of the opponent on to preview the game. I think this is a first in the history of the pod.
It was a first, and it was great. It was very cool to hear from him.
Yeah, so you guys are going to really enjoy hearing from Brock Spack. But, Ted, let's dive into it, man. This is what we do for our preview episodes. If you're new here, we say things we are watching for in the game on Saturday. So, Ted, when it comes to OU's defense against Illinois State's offense, what are you watching for?
Well, I'll say the obvious up front, and you've heard this a million times throughout the years. This game's about Oklahoma, right? It's about how do we perform. And when you look at Illinois State's offense, it's what is become now the most common offense in college football, right? Run wise, you're going to get the same type of stuff: inside zone, split zone, zone insert. You'll see some quarterback stuff here and there, some zone read on the edge, on the perimeter, and they're going to tag RPO stuff off of most of their run game. There's not a lot there. So for me, it's on the defensive line, and I have a feeling they're going to have a big day. Biggest mismatch in the entire football game, in my mind, is our defensive line against their offensive line. So I think we should dominate the run. I will say that they have a good back. Winker's right. Pretty sizable back. He's a productive guy. I wouldn't say that he has shake that we haven't seen or power that we haven't seen. He's just a solid running back. And I think we should have a good day against him, honestly, but he's been productive. The thing that worries you, and it's not a deep worry, it's just where they may be able to find some stuff. Their quarterback, Rittenhouse, he's quick. Not a big guy, but he can go. He's got some real good burst to him. We've got to be smart in our rush lanes. I think we're going to put him in a bunch of third and longs, because I think we'll be really good against the run. And I think the most dangerous thing that they're going to have is him scrambling if we come after him and maybe miss, get out of a lane, and he's able to pull it down and run. Or if we drop back in zone, he can find a little gap in the four-man rush to split and go try and pick up a first down. And when he gets some open field, he can run now. So we got to be smart on him, leverage him, and not let him break any of those free. He may scramble, pick up a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, but we've got to limit that. Sobkowitz is their best wide receiver. He's got some nice size on the outside. They'll throw him some fade balls. They'll press downfield a little bit. He can run through some tackles. He's got decent speed. I wouldn't classify him as a burner. He's more of a body position type of wide receiver. And like I said, on all the run stuff, a lot of RPO, a lot of at the line of scrimmage stuff, the slants, the little spear routes, just breaking inside of leverage of the defensive back in the RPO game. But all in all, honestly, it's about as straightforward of an offense as we're going to see. It is of the spread nature, but it's the zone RPO game. That's what they do. That's what they do the most. And we will see that a ton. We've seen that in the past a ton. I imagine we'll have a pretty straightforward defensive game plan against him. Probably light him up a couple of times from some different places, but this is about us. And in my opinion, we've got a really big advantage with our defense against their offense. Hopefully we take advantage of it.
I'm with you, man. I think the number one thing I'm watching for OU's defense is just tackling.
Yeah.
That's always my big concern, no matter who you're playing in the opener. And they've done, don't get me wrong, they've done some live stuff leading up to this game. They've worked on tackling, but it's just a little different when you get out there on the game field under the lights. So I don't see any guys from Illinois State that have a bunch of shake to them, but you just want to see sound tackling from every level of the defense in the opener. And there's no doubt that we've become a better tackling program under Venables, but it's just something that is always in the back of your mind for your first game. Sobkowitz is an 1,100-yard receiver.
Yep.
And I was looking at some of his stuff from last year, and maybe that's probably the most interesting matchup for me, Ted, because he had catches of 31, 38, 44, 68, 84, 62, a bunch of catches 15, between like 15 and 20 yards. Like, this guy produced a lot of big plays. He's all of 6'2" and all of, 205, 210 pounds. And with our situation at corner, even though we're more excited about it than we thought we were going to be, I think that particular matchup is interesting because Tommy Rittenhouse is going to give Daniel Sobkowitz a chance to go make plays. Like, that's what he does. He throws it up to the guy. And I'm interested to see, especially if it's like Guillory, him in those situations battling for the ball. Like, that's probably the number one thing I'm most excited to watch with OU's defense is Sobkowitz against some of these young corners.
Yeah, and you'll see with him, he uses his size well. And like I said, Rittenhouse will throw it up to him. And I think a lot of his long plays come on those 50-50 balls that aren't really 50-50. He's got a higher percentage, and defensive backs go up and try and lunge for the ball. He catches it over the top of them. They fall to the ground, and there's no one there left to make the play, and he's off and running. So we got to keep our feet, got to compete for the ball. But you're right. The two main things for our defense that can get us in trouble is tackling, whether it's Rittenhouse pulling it down and scrambling, or some of the quick RPO game where they complete it and a guy slides off a tackle. Those can get out on you, and mental mistakes where we don't communicate well. We've got the wrong rotation. A corner thinks he's a flat player and has help over the top. The safety is rolled the other way and there's no one left and we give up free runners. You saw it in the opener with Iowa State and K-State. Iowa State gave up uncharacteristically a bunch of free runners down the field. We can't do that. And with as experienced as we are defensively, with all these guys having been in the system, you shouldn't see a lot of those. I expect him to be pretty locked in and sound, but they've got some playmakers. I think we have more, and I'm anxious to see our pass rush get after these guys whenever we can get them in 3rd and long, let our 4-man rush go, see what we can come up with.
I would not be surprised if you see quite a bit of max protection from Illinois State, knowing that they're not going to match up particularly well at the line of scrimmage. But I'm not going to act like Illinois State is some threat to come into Norman and make this a close game. I don't think that's true. If I said that, it would be a lie. But this team is preseason number 6 in the FCS. Like these are not just slappies coming to Norman. This is a well-coached, physical football team that went to the FCS playoffs last year, and they're going to give OU every ounce they got.
Yep.
Now, this should be a blowout, Ted, but they played Iowa in the opener last season. So they've played games like this before. You'll hear Coach Spack talk about it. It's very important for their program to play these games. But do you know what the halftime score of that game was against Iowa at Iowa last year?
I do, because I've watched it. It was a tight one at half.
It was 6-0. Now, Illinois State couldn't do anything on Iowa's defense, but it was 6-0. Now, I'm not expecting that, but I only bring that up to say this football team should have OU's full attention. We all know what's coming next week. We all know how massive that game against Michigan is going to be, but this is a team that's going to give you everything they got. You got to be locked in. You got to execute early. I want to see the Sooners put this thing away in the first half. That's what I want to see.
I agree. Totally agree. And, defensively, first series is always a little iffy. First series of the season, first series of the game. To some degree, you're not exactly sure what you're going to get. And it wouldn't be all that surprising or troubling if on the first series they hit us on a couple of plays and it takes us a second to get our wits about us and settle into the game. But we should jump all over these guys. There's no doubt.
Anything else you're watching for? OU's defense versus the Illinois State offense.
I mean, aside from what does our rotation look like in the real meat of the game, the first half, starters, playing a bunch of reps, how does that defensive line rotate? What do we see at inside backer? There's a bunch of oars out there at inside backer. Is that a possession by possession situation? Is that a quarter by quarter?
I'm interested in seeing what Hejny looks like.
Yeah.
He's going to get a lot of time in this game, and he's had a very, very impressive camp. I'm interested to see what that young guy has. We've seen him all over the place on special teams the last couple seasons, but let's see what he looks like at that inside backer spot. I'm curious.
Yeah, I am too. I think he'll make some plays. Venables loves to blitz him. I think whenever he's out there, you may have some action coming in the backfield.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, let's get to what we're watching for from OU's offense versus Illinois State's defense. But first, taking a road trip this summer? Remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway, and with the Love's app, you can save big all summer long. You can save 10 cents per gallon on gas and up to 25 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app this summer and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
It's football time in Oklahoma, and you need beef built like our guys on the field, premium, powerful, and ready to perform. That's Didier Ranch. They're a family ranch right here in Oklahoma, raising and shipping their own beef nationwide. Steak burgers, premium ground beef, and they hand deliver next day to the Oklahoma City metro and surrounding areas. Norman, Moore, Edmond, Yukon, right from their ranch to your doorstep, faster than the Sooner schooner after a touchdown drive. Premium beef delivered. Visit DidierRanch.com and taste the luxury of tradition.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the Oklahoma-owned company and the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. It's August in Oklahoma, and that can only mean one thing. OU football is back. Get ready for home games with us. Every home OU football game will feature exclusive limited edition drinkware drops, perfect for staying hydrated while you cheer on the Sooners. Each home game brings a brand new design only available while supplies last. So grab yours each game before they are gone. And with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you'll also know you're helping Oklahomans off the field as well. Simple Modern, good everywhere. All right, looking at the Sooners offense versus the Redbirds defense. First of all, just kind of structurally, they do a lot defensively. I like their defense a lot from a structural standpoint. They can be a 4-2-5 nickel team. You get in 12 personnel, they'll jump into old school 3-4 defense. Ted, it just made my heart happy watching it. But they've got some of the 4 down odd spacing stuff. I think this is a really good opener for OU's offense because they do quite a bit defensively. You got to prepare for all of it, and you got to be dialed in to all of it out there when you're trying to execute. So I actually, from a structural standpoint, actually like this matchup in the opener. And their best players, Ty Niekamp, inside linebacker, very productive, physical type of guy. Jake Anderson, number 97, is their best defensive lineman. The guy just looks strong. Looks like a weight room strong defensive tackle. Doesn't move or run particularly well, Ted, but it's one of those guys where you watch it and you go, you're going to be sore after this one. That's not going to feel terribly great. But just getting into some of the things I'm watching for, let's start with the run game. It's simple. ID the front, communicate your blocking assignments, get movement at the point of attack. I don't think they're going to overcomplicate things with the running game in this one. This is going to be probably a day one install type run plan, core runs. And let's just see what this offensive line and these running backs can do. All eyes are on the offensive line rotation and the running back rotation.
Yeah. Do you, given the fronts that they will show, is this more of a zone game? Is this more of a gap scheme game, or healthy mix of both?
It should be both. I personally, against 3-4 defense, like if they're going to work on 12 personnel, and I would love to see them utilize some 12 personnel in this game with Kanik and Huggins just to build some confidence with that group. That needs to be a part of your offense. It doesn't have to be a major part of your offense, but you need opponents to have to prepare for a 12 personnel package. And you know what the defensive structure is going to look like. Against 3-4 defense, I have always liked wide zone plays and then gap schemes. I love the angles on gap schemes against the 3-4 defense, whether that's counter, power. We've been a big counter team with beaten bows. So I don't think it's going to be overly complicated. I would like to see them get into 12, run GY counter with Kanik as the second puller, or GH, I guess is what you would classify that, with Huggins as your Y. I would love to see him run some of the stretch plays that we saw Arbuckle run at Washington State a year ago. I just want to see those concepts in that personnel grouping because you're going to need it down the line. And those guys, like Kanik, has never played offense at a college football game. So I would like to see him in some of those situations. I know he's tight end 1 on the depth chart. He's going to be out there in a lot of the 11 personnel stuff, but I would like to see the 2 tight end sets and those guys get some confidence, like, and just get Arbuckle some confidence in that personnel grouping because once again, they're going to need it down the line, man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's another spot. What is that? What does the tight end rotation look like? How many of those guys play in, the critical parts of the game, first half when you got mainly ones up?
I think all eyes will be on the running back position. The way that depth chart looked
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of people's attention. All I care about is can you make guys miss in space? Because I expect holes to be there. And then pass protection. We'll get to some of the pass protection stuff, but that's really the two main things I'm looking at the running back spot. I'm clearly excited to watch Blaylock in his first game action. I think the fans are going to be pleased with
He's
what
got a
they see
motor.
from number 6.
I agree. He's got some juice to him.
So can the running backs make guys miss in space, and what's it looking like in pass protection? One offensive line thing, especially run game. They bring a lot of edge pressures. Whether that's a linebacker coming off the edge, they blitz safeties more than any team I've ever seen, I think. Safety coming off the edge, corners coming off the edge. And when they bring those edge pressures, I want that recognized by the offensive line and the tight ends because, Ted, when you bring edge pressure, the entire defensive line slants. And that means whether you're running zone schemes or gap schemes, your combinations are going to change on the fly. You're going to make one call before the ball is snapped, and then it's going to be something different. The combos are going to be different. I want them to recognize those edge pressures and really execute those changing blocking combinations well. I don't want to see confusion. I don't want them to look surprised. I want them to anticipate the movement and then have clean blocking assignments when the picture changes post snap.
Yeah.
That's not too much to ask.
No, and it that's the most difficult part about it. It would be nice if everyone just lined up and showed you exactly what they were going to do every snap,
That
but
would be nice. You're right. I'd like that.
you gotta learn to communicate. And there's, even though we've got a good group of guys that have been rotating in and competing, there's a bunch of different players in the lineup, so communication's going to be key for those guys.
No doubt. And some of these edge pressures, they do not do a great job if the quarterback pulls it, if it's a read game, whether that's counter read or zone read, whatever. So I think there's an opportunity for Mateer, especially early, when these guys on these edge pressures are flying off the ball, they're all amped up, got the adrenaline pumping. I think Mateer's got an opportunity for some big runs.
I like that.
I think the fans would like that. I know I would.
See that guy get out, run, create.
Move into some pass game thoughts. They are a deep zone coverage team. They do a really nice job of staying on top of deeper routes. That being said, I know Arbuckle's got some stuff that really attacks cover 3 looks, attacks cover 2 looks. I want to see him push it down the field and create explosives. That has been a huge missing piece of this offense the last couple of seasons. And we've seen it over and over again in practice. Ted, Mateer's going to give his guys chances to go make explosive plays. So whether it's, you're clearing out a guy for a deep post or you're clearing out a guy for one of those deep over routes, I want to see some deep balls, dang it.
And I think we're going to. I mean, just talking with Coach Venables, he didn't say it, but just trying to read between the lines, I think they're planning on announcing John Mateer's presence at quarterback at Oklahoma with some explosive stuff.
I like that. I want to see them attack. One of the things that I think has been a weakness of OU's offense the last couple of years is there's just kind of weak links on the opponent. And I feel like we haven't attacked those weak links the way that we should.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating Arbuckle doing that. And Ty Niekamp, number 46, inside backer, he may be their best player on defense, but the dude cannot run and he cannot cover. Yep. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but he should not be able to run with our backs and tight ends. Or if he ends up on a slot, that certainly not. But that is a weakness in his game. So I want to see them attack Ty Niekamp and make him cover. That's something that we haven't done enough in my mind the last couple seasons. Would also love to see him attacking the middle of the field in the pass game. I was a big fan of how aggressively Mateer attacked the middle of the field last season at Washington State. Arbuckle designs a lot of stuff to attack the middle of the field. So I'd like to see some of those nice timing throws on those deep digs in the middle of the field. One other pass game thing. And I think this is something that I'm not sure if you want to save it for next week or you want to start showing some of it, but we've been the worst screen team in America over the last couple seasons. And Ben Arbuckle's got a bunch of screen game in his offense. He ran a ton of it the last couple seasons at Washington State. And I would love to just see a traditional running back screen in this game. And one of the reasons I would love to see that is Michigan. Yeah, I've started watching Michigan. What's up? Some advanced scouting. The players can't do it, but I can. They are a team you can screen with just how aggressive they are on their defensive front. They are a team you can screen. So I'd like to see some screens in this game. Just a couple. Not too much to ask for, right? Just a couple.
No. Mix it up.
Maybe throw Jaden Ott a screen. Let him get loose. Get the people excited. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Last thing.
I've noticed that in some camp practice stuff, they like to create some open space for the running back to get them involved, whether it is the screen game, swing screen stuff, different, like start them off in empty, leave them in empty. I mean, Arbuckle gets pretty creative on ways to get the football.
Last thing, and I think this is the number one thing I am watching for from OU's offense in this game. Pass protection in second and long and third and long situations. Buddy, let me tell you, Illinois State's got some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some pressure packages that I really, really like. And ideally, the Sooners would avoid those situations. Stay ahead of the chains, be on schedule, don't get in second and long and third and long. But let's be realistic. Some of those are going to happen. And Illinois State has all kinds of different pressure looks. Showing 5 guys up at the line of scrimmage, showing 6 guys up at the line of scrimmage, showing 7 guys up at the line of scrimmage, overloading the front, meaning 3 defensive linemen on one side, 1 defensive lineman on the other, walking up backers in that look. They've got all of it in pressure packages, and you don't know which guys they're bringing and which guys are dropping. And a lot of times, the guys that look like they're coming ain't coming, and they're bringing a safety from the clouds. The best example I can give, and we will have this on our In the Weeds game preview tomorrow on our YouTube channel. We're trying something new this year. We're going to break down some of the things that we're watching for on an In the Weeds, and hopefully have you guys educated up for the game. That didn't sound good, but I think they know what I mean. But they will, the first third down of the opener last year against Iowa, they're showing 6 guys up at the line of scrimmage, double mugged linebackers in the A-gaps, 4 defensive linemen. They bring all 6 of those dudes, and then they bring a safety from about 7 yards deep right in the middle and run zero and play just straight man-on-man behind it. The pressure is coming. So one of the things I want to see is communication from Troy Everett. Make sure everything is identified across the board from an offensive line perspective. And communication, let's not forget, that includes the running backs. That includes the tight ends if they're staying in protection. And that includes John Mateer. because several times in training camp, I've seen Mateer directing traffic and changing protection. I would love to. I may faint if we see that on Saturday night. But when it comes to some of the zero stuff, how does Mateer handle it? Because if they're bringing 7 and you're in 6-man protection, the 7th guy, and this may sound strange, is the quarterback's guy in pass protection. He has to beat that guy with the football. That's on him. It's not on the offensive line. Now, you could check to 7-man protection and have everyone accounted for. I would love to see that. Or you could try to stay in 6-man protection, slide the offensive line, insert the back off the edge, and try to just create some junk in the middle for that extra guy that you're technically don't have a blocker for. I'm interested to see how they handle these situations, but that's the number one thing I'm watching for is how do they handle these 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations, because I believe it's the best thing that Illinois State does defensively.
Yeah.
So, and it's really good practice for the rest of the season for this team. So can you identify the pressures? Do you communicate the blocking scheme? Where's everyone going? Backs and tight ends included. And then can you make them pay for bringing those pressures?
That's what all your future opponents are going to be watching, and if you put it on tape that you can't protect it, you can't make them pay down the field in one-on-one, you're going to get a steady dose of it. So it's nice to set the precedent early that if you're going to bring pressure, we're going to make you pay over the top, one-on-ones on the outside. I think that's going to be big. And frankly, I'm hoping and my hunch is that that's going to be where Mateer's at his best, whether it's creating, beating a guy, like beating a free rusher and making him pay, pulling the ball down, or throwing up some one-on-one balls.
I am very much looking forward to watching those situations on Saturday night. All right, let's get to call your shot. Asked you guys the number one thing y'all will be watching for on Saturday night between the Sooners and Redbirds. This first one is just great. It comes from @OU_Morgan. He says, "Sweet Knights of Neptune, we've made it." This tweet just sent me to the ether. I'm flying in the sky with magical unicorns, and the gods of football are smiling upon Norman. Oh, yeah. Call my shot. Looking for utter dominance and stability on the offensive side. Score touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't think we got a single response to the call your shot tweet about the defense. I don't think anyone was like, I can't wait to see what the defense looks like. I think people are pretty confident in that side of the ball. It's all these responses are about the Sooners offense, Ted.
We've things have changed over the last couple of years, haven't they?
Just a bit.
We've struggled offensively, but there's a lot of excitement offensively. That's where all the new is. Defensively, a lot of the same guys. We kind of know what to expect, but on the offensive side, I mean, it's going to tell the story of the season. So, yeah, let's go out and score some touchdowns.
This other one comes from Tim Cook. Apple Tim Cook? I always knew Tim Cook was the listener. I mean,
appreciate you for listening.
Thanks, Tim. If you want to give to OUNIL, we'd appreciate that.
Hey,
we'd appreciate that, Tim. But this Tim Cook, not sure it's the Apple one, but he says, I'll give you 2. Number 1, big holes for RBs. Number 2, clean pocket for QBs.
Yeah.
I think Tim is hinting that he wants to see some good stuff from the offensive line, which I believe is probably the number one thing that OU fans are going to be watching for on Saturdays. How does that offensive line play?
And rightfully so. And watching those rotations and seeing who's in is going to be interesting.
I don't know if everyone's going to be available.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I want to make that clear. I haven't talked to anyone. I just get the sense that extra cautious may be the approach with a couple of these guys for this game. We'll see. We'll see who jogs out there on Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's talk to the head coach of the opponent. How about that?
Let's see what he says. He knows more than we do.
All right, here's Brock Spack. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
with ice cold beers, great food, and TVs all around, Pub W is the perfect spot to catch OU football and NFL Sundays. Pub W has been voted best happy hour 3 years in a row and serves brunch Saturday and Sunday mornings until 2 p.m. You can enjoy classics like chicken and waffles and their steak breakfast burrito, as well as unique dishes like the Big Country Benedict. Plus, brunch Marys, mimosas, and espresso martinis. Visit pubdub.com to find a location near you. Pub W, good food, good drinks, good people.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
It is our pleasure to be joined by a man that is headed into his 17th season as the head coach of Illinois State football. Coach Brock Spack is in the house. Coach, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's exciting every year when college football gets rolling, and you guys, you're not scared of these games. And you've scheduled Oklahoma, played Iowa in the opener last year. What do these games mean to you guys, your program? How do you use it to fuel your players throughout the offseason, and how important is it overall for your athletic department?
Well, it's really important, obviously financially, it's a big deal for us, but more so than that, you played, you understand that, when you have a really good opponent in your first game, training camp takes a little bit more of an edge to it and a little more importance because you want to be prepared for that first game and don't want to get embarrassed. So I like having a real strong opponent in the first game. Particularly our team's a little more, I guess, seasoned than it was a year ago at this time. I was a little uneasy. We kind of limped into the Iowa game. We weren't particularly healthy for whatever reasons. I think we were kind of, mirroring your issues last year. We it wasn't necessarily the number of injuries. It was who got injured. As it was some of our best offensive players were limping into the season. That's not how you want to start it, but. I think that obviously the idea of playing a great program, and when I was at Purdue for years, we played Notre Dame, and a lot of times that was the first game of the season. That was always kind of a game you were judged on, where you're at, and how good a team you're going to have. So those are always our kids will. I hope they'll play hard. They shouldn't be in. It'll be a huge crowd for them, and I think they'll embrace that, but. And I appreciate Oklahoma playing us, because it gives our guys an opportunity to, it'll only make us better. I just want to, I get worried as a coach. You're a little different as a player. You don't really think about these things, but you don't want to get anybody hurt. And last couple of times we played these games, we've lost our best running back for the season. So we got to make sure we try to stay healthy. But knock on wood, that's kind of. The big man upstairs kind of covers all that up, and anytime you play I guess sport like football, it's gonna you take that risk. But other than that, I think it's a win-win for us. It's just it's a great. It helps us see where we're at, and these guys all want to play big time. They want to play beyond college, and I said, well, this is what it'll be like. So you'll see what you got.
Coach, you mentioned how important it is for your program financially. What a great opportunity. Just from a coaching perspective, What are you kind of hoping to see from your guys in a matchup like this?
Well, Teddy can tell you, what the first, uh, you know, I guess, acronym of winning is you can't beat yourself. So you want to make sure that you want to eliminate penalties, you want to eliminate mental errors, you want to win the turnover battle. Those are the things you can't do, and if we do that in this game, it'll be a rout. So we got to be really good with the football. We got to protect the football, and just do the things that's going to win a lot of games over a season. And if you can do that right out of the gate, that's great. And but those, and then. The physicality of the game like this is going to be great. I was at, Purdue. We played Georgia twice in a New Year's Day Bowl, once in the Capital One Bowl, one in the Outback Bowl, and I was asked by, another Oklahoma press person a couple of days ago about, who I compare Oklahoma to. I would say Georgia. Very similar when I was in the Big Ten and when playing Georgia. They were really athletic, real physical. It's really good football team, really well coached, and then so you kind of see where you're at when it comes to those games. And I think it's really good for us to see that if these guys want to play it, if they have any aspirations to playing beyond college, this is the kind of players you're going to see.
Well, I've just scanning through your roster, looking at some last year's stuff. You got some guys opportunities in the NFL, but there's also been some players that transferred out, to go to the Power Four. How is the NIL stuff and the transfer portal? How has that affected your program?
Well, this year not as bad as it's been. Uh, COVID really kind of kicked our ass pretty good. I don't know why it did. We didn't play in the COVID in the spring season, so our guys, we had a great football team, I thought, in 2020, and maybe one of the best teams never played here. Um, we went to the national finals, in 14. I thought that team could have been challenged. We opened up with Illinois, and that's 40 miles from our campus here. That was going to be a big game for us, and I got nixed. So for some reason, that really hit us hard. 'Cause no one knew what the future was, So those kids wanted to play, so we helped them play in the fall at other places. So at um, but I think it's I think that that's probably COVID was probably one of the worst things I could ever remember. I don't know if I answered your question what you wanted there, but
Yeah, well, there's circumstances out there that affect you guys for sure.
well, I think you asked about what does it mean our football team, and
Just
we
yeah,
have
how
some,
the
yeah, we
transfer
have power.
portal has affected you guys. Yeah,
What's that?
it was just how the transfer portal, like
Yeah, the
guys.
transfer portal. That go.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all that was what I think. My point was this. I got off on that. Sorry about that. I was, it was a portal, and then we had to deal with something that was you never would have to deal with. That's a pandemic, and then you had the portal and all that, and all the other stuff in the summer of 2020. It was just a lot, and um, just dealing with the portal is a little easier. We've always kind of been in the transfer market here. We don't live in it, but we always keeping our eyes open for a player. And it was great, with my Big Ten ties. When I came here, I had friends in the Big Ten. I thought, well, how could we get an edge on talent? Because the guys who are left over sometimes in junior college aren't exactly what we want, what we need, either from an academic standpoint or whatever. It's not good enough players. But so I used the Big Ten as our as our JC, which means they could come down and play for us. Those guys wanted to play. That's why they're leaving. So we used that quite a bit. We had a couple kids from Texas, and we had an OU kid. God, I forget his name now. He played for a couple of years up in the CFL. Was an offensive lineman out of Mesquite, Texas. Ladnoy, Josh
Josh Ladnoy,
Yeah,
former teammate of mine.
Well, let me tell you about Josh Ladnois. Yeah,
We
I
called
said,
him Big
Josh,
Ham, Coach.
what's that? Yeah,
We called him Big Ham.
just couldn't, find a place. He's playing on both sides of football. I said, Josh, you can play offense here. I went and sat in his living room. I said, isn't this interesting? 2 years ago, when I was at Purdue, you probably wouldn't let me sit in your living room. I wouldn't have been in. And now I'm an FCS head coach, and here I am sitting in your living room. And he thought his dad just laughed. He thought that was great. But yeah, he made the switch, and we got a lot out of him. He was a good player for us. He's just an example, but. Now, I don't know if we get Josh Oladnoy here, a guy like that. We got, our right tackle, right? Pope, Jake Pope is, he's from South Florida. I have a pretty good connection to St. Thomas Aquinas down there. It's a pretty good school, and we've had about 5 or 6 guys here from there. But he was at Kentucky. He was a really good, high school player. I couldn't talk to him out of high school, and then he ends up here, and he's had a very good career here. And so we the portal's been all right, but we've lost some guys, but I do had something where us and North Dakota State lost the least amount in our league, but I don't know who isn't affected. I think you guys lost a few guys too, and when it comes to the money and the free agency type thing, it's kind of what it is, isn't it, for you guys? I mean, you lose a good player. Why would you leave Oklahoma? Well, money is probably the reason. So the portal's kind of affected everybody, really. It's just a little different, but I guess this year hasn't been too bad, um, but it is different. It is something you have to navigate for sure. And NIL for us is probably not, on the same level yours, but I'm surprised we have the collective that we do have. I'm very, very surprised. We have a very good group of people here in our community that help our. We have several former player and a couple other folks that help us with that. And we don't have nowhere near the money you guys do, but we still can help players, and that's kind of what that's for, right? It's to help players get, with their experience in college and maybe help them, move on after they're done playing. So that's been a little bit better than I thought it'd be for us, and it's gone pretty well, but it's different. I can't believe we leave a staff meeting talking about, I remember the first time we talked about, well, who are we going to pay? And I walked out there. I said, if I said that just 2 years ago, I would have been in NCAA purgatory. I would never. I've been arrested. I've been in prison. It's just unbelievable where we're at. And but that's life. That's the landscape now, and you either adjust to it or you get passed up. And
Yep.
we'll always be in the business of that. But I think the heart and soul of our team, is a high school, based recruiting.
Coming off the playoff berth this season ago, Coach, high expectations, right? Saw you guys were preseason number 6 in the FCS polls. Just how are you and your team embracing those high expectations entering this season?
I really haven't talked about it much. We've had other seasons like that, I guess, but I I've been I think I like that because it puts a little more strain on the player, puts a little bit more, hey, this is, where it's easier to come from being an underdog than being the hunted, you know what I mean? So uh it puts us in our level, puts us in a different, every weekend is going to be is going to be a challenge for these guys because they're going to be the hunted. And but I do like it. I think our team earned it, and these guys have done a really good job. We had to rebuild our program after COVID and all the things that happened during that time, and I like where our team is at right now. And got really good guys. Love playing football, and there's nothing better than that. You don't. And I think we have for our level, we have a good team.
Tell us a little about your quarterback, Rittenhouse. Had a solid season a year ago. Productive passer, dangerous runner, 25 touchdowns overall. Looks like he limited turnovers pretty well for you. How do you feel about him going into this year?
Well, I was stunned, when he was named to one of the preseason All-American teams or whatever watch list or whatever that was, and he's he's not much to look at when he comes out. You're not going to go, wow, I'm impressed with boy, what a great looking dude. But he's very competitive, athletic, can run. Has really worked hard on his arm strength and his arm talent, and he's has a quick release, can throw on the run, but not a big guy for us. So I always worry about Tommy a little bit because of his size, but he's he can get close to 195, 200 pounds, which usually is a pretty big guy as a normal person, but for as you know in football, that's not a very big guy. So, but he's really worked hard, and he's kind of what college football is about. When you're in a developmental program like this, and he's really developed into a good player. This will be a little different for him probably, but I think he'll, I think he'll rise and he'll compete. And he's kind of a gnat. He's kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. He just he frustrates our defense a lot. Because he can run a little bit and he's quick. And I'm not saying he's Doug Flutie, but he's got those kind of skills. He can run and throw on the run. He's not a giant guy, but he's quick and sudden. It's hard to get a beat on him, but has turned in to be a really very good player. Really like him. We like his backup as well. He's a young guy. We redshirted a year ago, and his arm is he has a very good arm and his quick release. Not Probably not quite the athlete Tommy is, but runs good enough for FCS football. But he's a uh, he's a very good thrower. So I think that position will be pretty. We should be fine. But obviously we want to protect our quarterback and not put him in any uh, any bad situations. So we'll hopefully be able to do that. We need him for every game after that.
With that in mind, Coach, how you feeling about the O line?
Better. They're a much better group they were a year ago. I have a couple. We have a Coastal Carolina transfer that's from the Chicagoland area that we were trying to recruit out of high school, and those usually are our best. You asked about the portal, Teddy. Those are usually our best players, guys that we were recruiting here that end up blowing up, and they go up and they find out, hey, I'm not going to play right away, so they come back down or they get in a situation they don't like. But um, I think Logan Brassfield is his name. I think he's a pretty good football player. I like our center. He was one of the better offensive linemen in the city of Chicago for FCS. I would say mid-major guys. Had 4 or 5 MAC offers and then ended up walking out at Missouri. So he knows the SEC. So he like him a lot as well. And he's Jack McGarry, a good player. So I think we're better there than our Woodard, Landon Woodard. Landon is he'll look the part. He'll look like probably one of your guys. He's about 6'5", 327, 330 in that range. He's a big, good-looking kid, and he's gotten better. This will be kind of a cool game for him to see how much better he's gotten because he's really improved. But
How
I think
about
we'll be better up front.
how about some of the skill position guys? I know you got a couple of good running backs coming back, right? Went over 1,100 yards last year. Lawson, another
Yes.
guy that added some stuff. How do you feel about those guys and maybe some other individual skill guys you've got?
I think we have a very good running back room. We have, 5 to 7 guys I think could all play. We probably won't play them all. Obviously, the run, we have a freshman. It's a pretty good player, but I don't know if he'll play much this year. We'll see. Um, but you mentioned Winker's right. Yeah, he's been a solid player here, tough, great person, good kid, and downhill runner, real smart. Um, Mason King was got hurt against Iowa last year and was out for the rest of the season. He's a very good player. We'll see how much we'll play him in this first game. But
Big kid.
he is, and he's very skilled, and he could have played for us at Purdue, and he would have been a starter for us. But the kid I think maybe worth watching is a kid from Cincinnati, Victor Dawson. Vic Dawson. He's He's those guys really liked him. They said he was fighting for their starting tailback spot, and he got an ACL injury and never could regain any traction because two guys were in front of him. So he left and came here, and I think he's a pretty good back. So we like him. And you mentioned Lawson. He's a good young player. And we got a kid named Seth Glatz is a pretty good football player. So we got some good backs. I like our backs. I think our best player offensively is Sobkowitz, is a receiver. He was, I was there. I was at Purdue when Breeze and Kyle Orton were there, and I played there a long time. So I can tell you that he would start any season that I was ever there. I was there for 22 years for us there. So Sobkowitz is a good player, and he's probably our top pro prospect. There's a lot of people coming through. The Cooper Cup thing, I don't know if he's that yet, but he's a very good player for us.
He's got good size. That's the thing when you turn the tape on, like you can point to Sobkowitz pretty quickly. What about
Yeah,
6'3"?
yeah, 6'2" maybe. He's all 205. He's a good looking dude. And he's got very good ball skills. He's even a better athlete than he is fast. He's just a good athlete, and he's able to get open. He'll be obviously really tested in this game, and it'll be fun for him. And if he wants to play pro football, these are the kind of guys you're going to see on Sunday. So we'll be very curious to see how he matches up because he's a good player. And he can move. He's a good athlete.
How do you
Looking,
guys?
oh, you go ahead,
Oh,
Ted.
sorry. I was just going to ask, how do you guys approach games like this? I mean, I know you probably put some stuff together, but I imagine you don't throw everything that you've been working on all season at it as you get into your regular season stuff, going to the playoffs and everything. So how do you kind of approach that as far as what you're bringing in out of the playbook, game plan wise?
Well, I think it's based on it's about us first. What our players can handle. What we can do. And it shouldn't really be about your opponent. Your opponent obviously is Oklahoma gets your attention, but I don't mean it that way. It's going to be more about us and what we can execute. And then you bring Oklahoma in the equation. Okay, what do we think we can execute to be successful? And I think that's the way we approach it. And I don't think that's exactly how we approach it. And both sides of football, we want to make sure in our special teams, we want to do the things our players can do well, and they feel very comfortable in that kind of environment. You have to have staples. You played, and you get there certain calls. When I was at Purdue, I'd always tell my defense, if I drop dead of a heart attack on pregame, you guys will play over 4 every freaking down, and you should win the game. Period. That's it. And you should have a call like that. And if you don't have a call like that, you don't have a very good defense. And it's kind of the same thing on offense. A running game, you got to hang your hat on inside zone or one back power or two back, whatever it is. Or outside zone, whatever you're gonna do. You got to have a staple run. Your staple passes that you really can count on, that you really like, and you're good at executing. And I think in these kind of games, those are things I think you have to go into. Because if you get really cute in a game like this, I think the better opponent, you may want to a lot of people want to expand their playbook and then they're not good at anything. I think you want to be good. Bring your staple philosophies and any little twists and turns you want to use and kind of see what they look like in a what I call a preseason game, a non-conference game, and try to see how it looks. We would probably look at those things, but nothing major. I don't think we'd rewrite the playbook just because you're playing a great program like Oklahoma. I think you got to execute your offense and defense, or you're not going to have any chance of winning.
If last year's game against Iowa is any indication, Coach, you're not going to hold back much defensively. I think I saw first third down of the game. You're showing 6 up, and you're bringing a safety blitz in between the guards. I was like, all right, these guys are just they're unloading the clip here. Here we go.
I was a 4-3 guy and then a 4-2 nickel guy for most of my career as a coordinator. And then I started dabbling in this 3-4 stuff, when I wasn't calling plays for the first 2 years here. And I lost my coordinator, so I went back to calling plays. So we kind of did both. And I kind of got enamored with the 3-4 stuff because, as you know, Teddy can tell you what's nice about 3-4. It's cyclical. It's 5.5 and 5.5, and you can activate a lot of everybody's on their feet. You can activate them, in some way, activating by adding to the rush or whatever you want to call it, blitzing or what, and it becomes a little fun, to dial some of that stuff up. But if you're really good at you can move or blitz your way out of plays, and so you got to be careful of that. And um, you, but we have to understand what we can execute, and if we can't get too cute, particularly early in the game.
Yeah. Well, I think that you guys obviously have some players on that side of the ball, and you talk about how you like to be aggressive, the angles you can create with that defense. Tell us a couple of standout guys you've had so far through camp.
Well, our defensive coordinator's son, actually, Ty Niecamp's a very, you're a linebacker. He's a good linebacker. You wouldn't be dazzled with Ty's athleticism. He's just really tough. He's about 6'3". He's got good length. He's got long arms. He's really smart. Obviously, he's got a high football IQ, and he's tough. Like him a lot. I like our front. I think there's multiple guys up front that could. Kid named Kessler is a pretty good football player for us. He's from the state of Ohio. He's a good football player. We have a transfer who was at University of Illinois a couple of years ago, who's a good player. We have a kid that's from Wisconsin. I think is a Big Ten player, and I knew a coach that was recruiting Wisconsin, was at Wisconsin, and now he's at Indiana. Bob Bostad was offensive line coach. He asked me, Brock, did you get that guy? Yeah, we got him. And
Played for Bob in Tennessee.
what's that?
Played for
Did
Bob
you?
Bostad in Tennessee.
Good football coach, isn't he?
What a character.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, just no,
yeah,
that dude is all business, coach.
yeah. He got pissed off. Said, I told those guys they should take this kid. Ben Harmon, yeah. Ben's his dad played for Hayden Fry at Iowa, so and he's a police officer in the city of Madison. So he had a back fracture as a junior, so he didn't play any sports. Comes back because he grew so fast. He's one of those guys that grew really fast. Comes back and plays. You know how all of us are. When all of us are in Power Five, you move on fast. If your kid's not offered as a junior, you move on. And he's 6'6" and he's 270, and he's only 19 years old, and he's going to be a really good player. I think you'll like him. I'm not sure he'll play a lot. He'll start the game. He won't start the game probably, but he'll play a lot. He's going to be a dude someday. So just don't let your guys get around him. Give him millions, please.
Yeah. Well,
That's why I worry more. Sometimes I don't want to take some of these young players. I want to leave them at home because I see all these analysts coming down watching our backup three technique or our backup
All
left
the
tackle.
polos coming and
Yeah,
getting eyes on your
all the
guys,
polos,
huh?
right? And they're taking notes, and that's kind of what it is now. You know,
you got to
It's-
do what Belichick has done out there. No numbers or anything on the jerseys, just a bunch of blank guys running around out there. Hard to
yeah,
get a read on who they are.
but you can't do it on game day.
That's right. That's true. True.
Anyways, yeah, but Ben's going to be a good player to watch. It'll be fun to watch, see how he plays in this game.
How's it been whenever you're looking at Oklahoma? Obviously, uh, not a lot you can look at from a year ago. You got a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. So Washington State stuff and just trying to figure out the personnel it's a big mix of people from kind of all over.
It is, it was funny. Two of your receivers, I have an idea who they are. I used to recruit the state of Michigan, so your slot Burks, and I'm a Purdue grad, so I got the skinny on him. The kid from East St. Louis who's at Wisconsin and went to Southern Illinois.
Yeah,
We played
Keontae
against,
Lewis. I
yeah,
actually I was watching some of his stuff when I
against
stumbled
us.
upon y'all's game against them last year,
Yeah.
And that's when I saw Rittenhouse running around. I was like, wait a second, this guy's got a little, he's got a little juice to him.
Yeah, we had a good night that night, but yeah, he's a good football player. I know that. Um, so those are guys, and obviously the quarterback material is really good, and he's a nightmare from a lot of different directions. He can beat you a lot of different ways. He can beat you with his legs, his power, his arm speed, his quickness, his arm talent, his arm strength. He's obviously he understands the system. He's been with the coordinator now for a long time, and so I'm sure they know each other very, very well. I'm sure the coordinator knows what he likes. So that's been interesting to watch, and some it's there's still a lot of unknowns that you don't know about. Going into a game. I hate first games. I don't know what you guys, when you guys played. I don't know if you. It was just I hated first games. Just hated them, and just because
First game and first series always the worst because
yeah,
you don't know what's coming.
you're chasing ghosts,
Yep.
and so I guess all we can do is defend and to uh, try to move the ball against things that we've seen on tape and try to and try to go from that and not try to chase ghosts. That's hard for coaches to do and to try to make up stuff here in the preseason, but yeah, I don't really, I'm sure it'll be different. I'm sure there'll be a lot like Washington State, but I'm sure they'll have their own little, the Oklahoma stuff in there. I think there'll be maybe their own something new. That's what keeps you up at nights. But you really can't worry about that. You got to get your team ready to execute your stuff um, and hope you can execute well in a tough environment.
Are there any guys, because the Sooners have a lot of guys back on the defensive side of the ball, and I know you're a coach. You're probably it's numbers, it's not names. But is there anyone that's really kind of stood out to you as you've studied OU's defense to prepare for this game?
Um, you had a defensive end that's got my attention. I mean, really good player. Um, I can't remember. Is that 32? Would that be
Yep.
the right
That's
number?
that's the one.
Yep.
See, yeah, he's a dude now. And I'm a having all my years we were known as a den of defensive ends at Purdue. We had a bunch of guys of those hybrid. Are they going to play up in the NFL or are they going to play down rush the passer in the NFL? They're kind of tweeners, um, so I really like to look at those kind of guys. He is a really good football player, and he's I don't know. We got to have I don't know what we're going to do with him. So but we know where he's going to line up. So we hope if we don't know, we're going to try to find him because he's a wrecking ball, and he's extremely athletic. And I've had some guys like him. I'm not sure in the past that played for me that were very, very good. But he can wreck a game, and I know they're really good in the secondary. I like their safeties. Can't remember names, and sometimes I remember number. I think the numbers have changed. I'm not sure, but there isn't a player on the field that isn't a really really good athlete, but those guys kind of stand out. They're hitters, and they're what you want as a safety. They're run support guys. They can cover and they can cover a lot of ground in a passing game, and they're going to be a handful. I know there's one safety in particular that had my attention. I think that I might have to turn my back when I see him approaching our receivers. He's a nasty hitter. So there's some guys. Yeah, there's a lot of guys actually, and their whole front is going to be a handful for us. They're really good up front, and I think their depth is really good. And you're an SEC team, so you have to have depth up front, and we all have to have depth. We have depth here. We try to have depth because you're gonna have to play a lot of guys in these games, and in particular early in the season. But the tempo games, teams with tempo, you're gonna have to play a lot of guys. So you got a lot of guys that can play.
Well,
But I'd say 32 is the dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
he is. He is.
yeah,
He's had
he's a
a
dude.
good camp as well. I know I'm looking forward to it, Coach. I'll say this right now: things change quickly, but 78 degrees, the high on Saturday. It's usually hotter than the surface of the sun for the first game.
I
So
can only
hopefully
imagine.
that holds. That'd be nice.
Yeah, well, wouldn't that be something? That would be good for all of us, but particularly us. But yeah, it's been pretty hot here, but it's cooled off here last, week or so. We was hot early, been hot all summer. So, but yeah, that would be amazing. That would be the football guys are shining on all of us. And plus to play at 5 o'clock, can you imagine what that's going to be like at
Oh,
7? It's
warm
just going to be
ups.
heaven on earth. It's air
Yeah,
conditioning. For
warm
you
ups
guys
are
down there,
always
you
the
might have to put the
worst.
coats on
I'll have a hoodie ready just in case,
just
Coach.
in case.
I do. Teddy's up in the booth. I do the sideline stuff, so I'll be.
You're the
I'll,
tough guy.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be weathering. I'll be weathering the elements. Okay, perfect weather. Coach, you're the man. Thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure, fellas. Thanks for covering us. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, man. Thank
All
you.
right, be nice to us now, okay? All right.
Will do.
All right, see you, man. Bye-bye.
Three things matter in banking: service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. All right, time to break down and preview the best games of week 1 in college football. Only one place you can start, Ted. Number 1, Texas travels to Columbus to take on number 3, Ohio State. Still cannot believe the AP voters messed that up. You got to make this 1 versus 2. What are we doing? This will be Big Noon Kickoff, 11 a.m. Central on Fox. Currently, Ohio State is a 2.5-point favorite. A rather large matchup, Ted.
Yeah. Yep. My thoughts on this game, like number one, I feel like both of these teams, like what you see in week 1 is not what you're going to see in week 10, 11, 12. You know, Ohio State, national champ, they're replacing a bunch of guys, and Ohio State's going to replace them with good players. We just got to kind of see how it all gels together. Texas, new quarterback with Arch Manning. Same thing. They're replacing some guys on the offensive line. How does it all gel together? I mean, I know Ohio State's playing at home. I guess I just feel like I know less about some of their personnel than I do Texas. But this one's there's gonna be a lot of dialogue coming out of this one at the quarterback spot. Arch Manning, the expectations, we all know where they are. Can he live up to that? And on Ohio State's side, is quarterback going to be good enough to get you where you need to go?
I feel like whoever wins this game is going to be the team that makes things easy on the quarterback. Who's going to run it efficiently?
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing is there's such a large focus on Arch Manning and Julian Sayin when really it's the guys around him. If they could, whoever can make the quarterback's life the easiest is going to win the game, in my opinion, because both of these teams are replacing a ton of NFL draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe the most interesting thing about the game is Ohio State is the defending national champions. They're at home. Somehow it feels like all the pressure is on Texas.
Yeah.
It's strange, right? And I don't know if it's the Arch Manning factor or, some of the things that Steve Sarkisian said in the offseason about like, hey, this is the season we've been building towards. But I don't know. It's strange that Ohio State's the defending champs. They're at home. And it feels like, hey, Texas has more to lose in the game.
Well, they got the number 1 next to the name. Heavy is the crown, right? When people think you're the best team in the country, Um, there's there's going to be a lot of eyes watching to see if you live up to that. I think it's interesting. What does Ohio State look like defensively? Let's all remember that Jim Knowles is gone. He's at Penn State now. And I know Arch he's not a freshman quarterback. He's not really, I mean, he's had some starts and he's had a decent amount of seat time, but how do they handle him at quarterback? They try and change a lot up on him. Do they just try and play it safe, force him to keep everything underneath? I'm really interested to see what Ohio State does just as an overall game plan against Texas's offense.
I feel like from a talent perspective, these teams are very evenly matched.
Yeah.
Both teams replacing a lot at the line of scrimmage. Now, all the talk, and rightfully so, Jeremiah Smith is incredible, but all the talk leading into the game is Jeremiah Smith, Jeremiah Smith, Jeremiah Smith. I won't be surprised if coming out of it, people are going, Ryan Wingo is a stud.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with him last season, and I think he's going to have a massive, massive year. The guy just can absolutely fly. So I also expect Texas to have a plan for Jeremiah Smith. I know that Ohio State's got a bunch of other guys that can cook you at receiver, but you can't let Jeremiah Smith wreck the game if you're Texas's defense. Is Julian Sand just going to go out there and rip it all over the yard and look like the next great quarterback at Ohio State? I don't know. I have my doubts, but I think that's going to be really interesting to see. No matter who wins this game, the overreaction is going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. It's people, that's what kind of how I started out. There's going to be a lot of talk about what these teams are. The loser, people are going to think they're way worse than they are, and the winner, perhaps they're going to think they're way better. But I'm with you on say what you want about Will Howard, but the efficiency that he operated with was really good for Ohio State. And what do they look like if they can't match that? And how dangerous are they going to be if they can?
They'll be dangerous.
Yep.
Really dangerous. Now, all right. Let's pick the game. I think it's very difficult. I think it's very difficult to go on the road and beat a team as talented as Ohio State. But give me the points with Texas. And the main reason why is I think Texas's running game will be a difference maker. I like a lot of the stuff that Sarkisian designs in the run game. And then they've got Wisner, they've got Baxter, and they've got Arch Manning and what he can do with his legs. I think Arch's legs will be a difference maker in this game. I expect it to be very close, but if you're giving me 2.5, I'll take the 2.5. I could see this being a 1-point football game. I could also see Texas winning it outright. There's a lot of newness with Ohio State. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new quarterback, a bunch of new players replacing NFL draft picks. I don't know. I think Texas is capable of going to Columbus and winning outright. And I won't lie, I'm not going to pretend that me wanting OU and Texas both to be undefeated in the Cotton Bowl doesn't shape my opinion on the game. Maybe I'm trying to speak it into existence to where the Red River Shootout is the biggest environment imaginable. That's part of it as well. I'm aware of that.
Well, I'm with you. I think Texas wins the game. I'm just going with the known commodities. I don't know much about saying at quarterback. I've seen Arch, and I know he's got great pieces around him. I like their offensive system. So I'm rolling with Arch over saying. Defense. There's a lot of talk about Sark and Arch and this offense at Texas. This is a defensive football team and has been since Sark took over. They've done some nice things on offense and they've had some great players, but their defense has been the specialty of that team, and I think that continues. One of the best edge rushers in the sport, maybe the best linebacker in the sport. They got some good guys in the secondary. I'm going with the known commodities right now, and maybe Ohio State wins me over, but you mentioned the coordinators being gone. Bunch of like two coordinators gone and a bunch of star players gone on both sides. Specifically, I'm talking about defense, though. I think Texas has the better defense. I think Texas has the better quarterback. So until I see it with Ohio State, and this isn't to say that I don't think Ohio State's going to be very good, I just think that it's going to take them a while to reach their peak. I think Texas is going to be a little bit ready out of the gate, a little bit more ready out of the gate.
Ohio State, they get beat. Ryan Day, fresh off a national championship, goes right back on the hot seat, baby.
Right back.
All right, moving to the next game. Number 9 LSU traveling to Clemson to take on the number 4 Tigers. That'll be 6:30 on Saturday night on ABC. Clemson currently a 3.5-point favorite. And let's start this breakdown of this game with a simple question. Who has the better quarterback in this game?
Boy,
because they're arguably the two best in college football.
I think that, okay, standalone in a vacuum, I'd probably take Nussmeier. I think he's got a higher ceiling, higher playmaking ability. But in this specific game, I think Klubnik will be the better quarterback.
That's fair. No respect for Nussmeier getting the number 18 at LSU, huh? I don't know how to factor that in, but it is a factor. I'm not sure how, but it's a big deal, I'm told.
No, I don't factor it in because Mock got his national championship against my team in 2003, and it damn sure wasn't because of him. I've still got a little bit of hard feelings on that one. No big deal, but
seems like you're over it. No, you're good.
I do like that they do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like whenever schools do stuff like that.
I think that the new look LSU offensive line versus this Clemson defensive line, which a lot of people believe is the best in the country because, TJ Parker and Peter Woods are legit.
Legit. What was it on the top 100 players in college football? Their 2 D linemen were in the top 10. So that's pretty telling. It kind of tells the story as to where I'm picking.
Taking the Tigers. Which Tigers?
I'm taking the home team. I'm taking Clemson. I think they win this one. Again, it's like a team that I believe is going to be more ready early. At the end of the year, when everything the dust settles a little bit, I think LSU is going to be better and better, kind of like we've seen them in past years. When they're good, it feels like they get the momentum going, and then when November hits, they hit the next gear. But the defense from Clemson, great front seven, and at quarterback, Klubnik, really good. They've surrounded him with good skill position players. I just think Clemson is going to be more ready early.
I think that's fair, but I'm taking the points with LSU. At some point, they got to win an opener, right? Statistically speaking.
Well, statistically speaking, they are due. I think they're like 1-4 in their last. They haven't won an opener since Burrow, right? And I think they're 1-4 in those or something. They also aren't nearly as good on the road. And, that's something I've noticed with them when you go back and kind of see how they played. Typically don't play as good whenever they're out on the road in tough environments. And if you look at, you know, pretty much the last 10 years since Clemson really got it going, they're one of the most difficult teams in the country to beat in their house.
I think the big question coming in the season for LSU is, hey, how do all these new pieces, all these transfers on defense fit together? We'll see how that group performs against a veteran offensive line from Clemson. And they've got some more dynamic playmakers at wide receiver now. But while I think LSU will probably struggle to run it consistently against that Clemson defense, I have more faith in LSU producing explosives in the passing game than I do Clemson. And that can really balance some things out in a football game. So we'll see. I think it's a field goal game. I'm going to take the points with LSU, but man, this feels like a massive game for Brian Kelly, dude. Just massive.
Yeah. Got to get it done. You got to win some big ones. You got to start off the season with a little bit of momentum. You know, that would help them quite a bit. Tough test. It's interesting in, you know, the Ohio State Texas game, we got two new quarterbacks duking it out. In this one, we've got two veteran quarterbacks duking it out. A lot of talent out there at the quarterback position in these two games.
I think LSU, it definitely feels like LSU has more on the line in this game to me, even though a lot of people are picking Clemson to win the national title. Several people I know are picking LSU to win the SEC, possibly win a national title. But just, I don't know. Dabo's kind of just entrenched there at Clemson, and they're clearly very excited about their team. But if you're an LSU fan, you're going, hey, if we're capable of winning the SEC and possibly winning a national title, we got to go beat Clemson. They lost to every SEC team they played a year ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but whatever team loses the game, boy, these two games we've talked about so far, whoever loses, fan base is going to be freaking out. It's going to be awesome.
Yep, it is. And I like it. I mean, that's the great thing about this opening week is as a fan, there's more great games than I can ever remember in an opening weekend, which the opening weekend lasts 5 days, which I also love. More good games, and the opinions on teams that lose are going to be way too dramatic, and the opinions on the teams that win are going to be way too dramatic, I believe, no matter how close the games are.
The other marquee matchup is number 6 Notre Dame at number 10 Miami, but that's Sunday night. We'll have recorded our next episode before that game is played, so let's pick another game. Ted, are you more interested in Alabama at Florida State or Auburn at Baylor?
Well, I'm more interested in Auburn at Baylor. I think Alabama is going to be really good this year, and I think they're going to absolutely stomp Florida State.
Can I point one thing out about Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
What they put on tape offensively in the first half of that ReliaQuest Bowl against Michigan was an abomination to offense. Like I am, and I know Ryan Grubb is back. I know Ty Simpson's a very different quarterback than Jalen Milroe, but because I watched that game getting ready for the OU Michigan game next week, because a lot of the guys that are going to be playing for Michigan this season played in that game. And Alabama, oh my, Ted, it was disgusting. But new season, new offense coordinator, it's going to be a different style of offense. I also think Castellanos, old Tommy Castellanos, probably going to pay for some of the things he said in the offseason in this one. But yes, let's do Auburn at Baylor. That is 7 p.m. Friday nighter on Fox. Auburn currently a 2.5-point road favorite over the Baylor Bears. All eyes on Jackson Arnold.
All eyes on Jackson Arnold. And I don't either Auburn is pull in one of the greatest rope-a-dope performances ever, or they're really in trouble and the corner needs to throw in the towel. I don't know. I don't know where they're at. There's been all kinds of speculation about, how bad things may possibly be. Like, what's the quarterback situation truly look like? Does Hugh Freeze really think there's a chance they're going to play all three quarterbacks? Um, a lot of intrigue here, and Baylor's got a hell of a quarterback themselves. And that place, we've been there. I know it only holds like 45, 50,000, but it's going to be amped for this game. And what's Jackson Arnold? Does he get stage fright? Does he come out confident? I think you could probably tell a lot about how this game's going to go by how does Jackson Arnold look on the first series. If it's a little disjointed, he makes a bad read, they're 3-and-out, they turn it over. Jackson Arnold is a confidence player, and he hasn't been able to find it for quite a while. I think that first series is going to tell the story. I'm taking Baylor to win the game.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. With how things went last season and with the conversation in the offseason leading up to the season, I think the argument can be made that Jackson Arnold has the most pressure of any quarterback in college football in week one. He's got weapons around him. They're going on the road against a team that, if Auburn wants to be a factor in the SEC and you want to be a contender, you got to go beat Baylor.
Have to.
This is a massive game for Jackson Arnold and for this Auburn team. And I know Dave Aranda's going to have some stuff ready to go for him.
Yeah. And he can get real creative on defense. And, you go into the game already. Now, I think Auburn's got some big advantages at some position groups, but they're at a disadvantage at quarterback and they're on the road. You're starting to, they get some check marks in this matchup. It's not just all about how Auburn plays. They got some dudes themselves. So, just absolutely fascinated with this football game. Part of it for us as Oklahoma fans is if Jackson Arnold goes out and looks terrible, does it make us feel better about where our football team may be? Yeah, probably. If Jackson Arnold goes out and looks amazing, does it make us feel worse about where we are as a team? Yeah, possibly. I don't know. This is, of all the games in week one that have so much flash to them, this is probably one of the more exciting games for me. We got Auburn early in the season, right? So you want to see how they look coming out of the gate, but the whole storyline that's followed Auburn throughout the whole offseason is coming to this boiling point on Friday night. It's going to be great.
I'm excited to watch Sawyer Robertson against that Auburn defense. A lot of people think the Auburn defense is going to be really good. So this is a guy in Robertson that a lot of people think is going to be a first-round type guy in the next draft.
He's like 6'5", 225, 230 pounds.
The Sooners may have sniffed around. May have sniffed around on Sawyer. May have sniffed around. But also, Bryson Washington, for them, really productive, good, physical back. So with the, let's call them mixed reviews coming out of training camp for Auburn's offense, it'd be awfully helpful for Jackson Arnold to get some help from that Auburn defense and that group play at a high level. But yeah, I think that despite neither of these teams being ranked, Ted, it feels like one of the biggest games of week one.
It does.
And I am, it's going to be standing alone there on Friday night. Everyone's going to be watching. What does Auburn do on the road, and how does Jackson Arnold look? This is a big one for Auburn. It feels very, very big. I don't want to be too dramatic, but it feels like this could determine the direction of their season.
Auburn right now, like it is such an interesting position. It feels like there's bubble gum holding the dam up right now, doesn't it? And with their fans, if they win this game, I don't think, I mean, I guess there's a scenario they go and they blow Baylor out and the fan base is like, okay, we've got something. But I think the more likely scenario is if you win, there's a huge sigh of relief. And if you lose, massive, massive incoming meltdown.
If Auburn loses this game, my goodness, Hugh Freeze's
He could be in
seat.
trouble.
Scorching.
Yep.
Not hot, scorching.
Could be in trouble.
People like Baylor to contend for a Big 12 title this season. That conversation certainly would intensify if they're able to find a way to win on Friday night. I'm very excited about the game. I'm taking the points with Baylor, man. I'm just home dog, got the better quarterback, defensive guru as your head coach. There's some ingredients there. That crowd is going to be rocking too. So yeah, give me Baylor to cover, man. Give me those points.
Yeah. My final question on this one. Does Jackson Arnold start and finish the game?
Yes. Because they're doing everything else pretty well. They're running it officially. Remember, veteran offensive line for Auburn. I think Hugh Freeze will try to limit putting everything on Jackson Arnold. Now, that is a very QB decision-driven offense. But maybe he's tweaked it a little bit with some of the issues they've had. I don't know, man. It's fascinating. I cannot wait to watch this game.
I agree. It's going to be fun.
You like Baylor?
I think Baylor wins it.
Man. Oh, just imagining the Auburn fan base if they lose to Baylor. Woo. What an opening weekend. I mean, these games we just previewed, this is going to be awesome. And OU's got a stress-free one, so we don't have to really worry about that much. Like, we know we're going to win the game, and we just get to overreact and freak out about all these other games. It's going to be great.
Who's under more pressure? Hugh Freeze or YouTube TV and Fox figuring out their issues? Because I will be pissed if I can't watch this game. I'm a YouTube TV guy, and today's the deadline, right? They got to figure it out by today. Isn't that what they said?
I need YouTube TV to figure it out. I'm not a YouTube TV guy, but I've been working on my wife for years for us to get rid of the cable that we have. It's so expensive, man. It's ridiculous. But that would be a big, I told you so, Gabe. I told you so. If all the YouTube TVers can't watch this game and I can on cable.
Brutal.
Figure it out, YouTube TV. Come on, guys.
Figure it out.
All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. But first, we are Mando Men. This is actually the deodorant both of us use. And new customers can go to shopmando.com and get 20% off site-wide and free shipping with our code OKBreakdown. Cheering for your squad is hard work, which makes the deodorant you choose very important. Mando's sweat control deodorant stick stops odor before it starts, and they have great scents like bourbon leather, Cloverwoods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. Mando's starter pack is also perfect for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. New customers get 20% off site-wide and free shipping on shopmando.com with our code OKBreakdown. That's shopmando.com, code OKBreakdown for 20% off and free shipping for new customers. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits. Smell great doing it.
And we found some amazing shirts we need to tell you guys about. Poncho. They make the ultimate outdoor performance shirts for men. Fabric's lightweight, breathes incredibly well, and dries fast. You can get them both short and long sleeve. You can choose regular fit or slim fit, and Poncho's got great color and pattern options as well. The shirt is built for whatever you want to throw at it. Getting outdoors, travel, backyard barbecue, date night. And Poncho wants you in a shirt you love, which is why they're offering free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges. If you've been looking for the perfect shirt, something breathable that fits great, feels even better, and stands out in a good way, give Poncho a try. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/OKBreakdown for $10 off your first order. That's Poncho, Poncho outdoors.com/OKBreakdown for $10 off and free shipping. Go try one out.
They're nice.
Yes, they are.
As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I get frustrated with college football. It feels like a day on a daily basis, and the frustration continued this week when Michigan refused to put out a depth chart, and they're playing New Mexico in their opener. And I guess in a great response, New Mexico decided to put out a depth chart that contained a bunch of characters. All the offensive players were Tom Cruise characters. All the defensive players, Tom Hanks. Defense was Tom Cruise. Leonardo DiCaprio got the special teams, all the characters from their movies. I thought it was hilarious as a response by New Mexico. It pisses me off. And whatever, Michigan fans may not care, but let us know a little bit who's playing. You got transfer portal players coming in. It's hard enough to try and figure out who's on your football team, but it's like some advantage that Michigan is trying to keep by being secretive as to what the 2 or 3 deep looks like. That stuff makes me so mad that you refuse to give out some of these things to your fans while continuing to ask for more money, more money, more money. And we can't even get who's going to play in what position and get to know our team a little bit. But New Mexico had the perfect response. Not going to help them in the football game, I don't think, but still, I thought it was clever. I thought it was good. And I think it points a big finger at teams that continue to do stuff like this.
Can I tell you my biggest takeaways from the depth chart they put out?
Yes.
The fact that on the defense, which was the Tom Cruise division as it's labeled, the fact that at linebacker they put an or between Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell and Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell, right? Tom Cruise's characters, the slight differences between Maverick in Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. And I appreciate the attention to detail that they acknowledged that. That was impressive.
You go experience, youthful aggression. Which way are you going to go in this one? Maybe go series by series. No, it was very, very cool. Very well done. I snickered when I saw that. It's really the perfect response to Michigan's depth chart. Or lack thereof.
I was disappointed in one thing.
Okay.
The quarterback, Lawrence Watley, born the third, and volunteers in the Tom Hanks division.
Who would you have gone with?
I mean, there's so many better options, right?
Are there? Which direction would you have gone? Who would you have started at quarterback?
Is it? I guess you have to put Forrest Gump at running back, like they did.
I guess.
But why not put Gump at quarterback and run the option or something? Really spice things up against the Wolverines.
Hey, that could be another little detail that they're leaving out.
Personally, I would have put Woody at quarterback.
Okay.
The leader of Andy's Toys, like Woody, quarterback energy from Woody. Maybe a little cagey at times, too cagey. But I feel
Fold,
like
it's
the
a pressure
quarterback
situation.
selection. I spent way too much time looking at this New Mexico depth chart, by the way. I feel like, or like Sully, he would have been a
There
perfect
you
quarterback.
go. That's the quarterback pick right
Guy
there.
lands the plane in the river. That's quarter. Those are the actions of a quarterback. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. That's true. Fair point.
Sullenberger, great quarterback name.
Ooh, it really is too. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got Sully as a left tackle. That's wrong.
No,
Sully
no,
doesn't have left tackle energy. Come on,
no. That's funny.
Jack Dawson kick will be kicking off for you. So good. I spent entirely too much time looking at it. All right. And it is really annoying as someone that's trying to prepare for next week already. Like, it's really annoying that they don't have a depth chart out. It's really
I
annoying.
know. It's just throw us a bone, please. Like in the old days where we know every single player on our team, top to bottom, they've been there for 4 years. Maybe it's a little bit different, but given the nature of today's game, just help us out a little bit. Come on. There is zero advantage to not putting out a depth chart.
Who do you have as your loser of the week?
This one's interesting because I really don't know where to place the blame, but if the Portnoy and Ohio State thing is real, Ohio State is easily the biggest loser. I mean, if there's truth to it, sounds like there is. Now, did they technically enforce a ban? I don't know. Did they apply a lot of pressure to Fox? I mean, something went on there, and it just, instead of saying, come on in, put the spotlight, look like an idiot, we're going to go out and win this game. It's such like a defensive move. It just reeks of weakness. And if you know anything about the man that you're banning, you have just loaded up his arsenal for an entire season. So if there's truth to it, I don't know how it all went down, but if the way it's being talked about is how it went down, Ohio State, incredibly weak move.
I've talked to some people about this.
Okay.
Barstool's college football show, they were all booked. They were scheduled. They had a spot picked out. Like, remember, Portnoy is doing stuff for Big Noon Kickoff now. The college football show for several of them throughout the season is going to follow. They're going to do their thing. That was all planned and ready to go. And then they were told that Ohio State did not have a spot for them on campus. Which, Ted, we've been to that campus.
Big campus.
Rather large. So it feels like Ohio State behind the scenes told Fox, we do not want Dave Portnoy here. And that is soft.
Very
soft. Because, and Ohio State played this all wrong. The narrative going into this game should all be about the massive matchup and the fact that you just won a national title.
No kidding.
That's what we should be talking about. Julian saying, Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. Hey, does Ohio State have the two best players in college football on their team? That's what the debate should be going into this game. Is Arch Manning that good? Like, those would be the talking points. And instead, there's a big conversation about Portnoy not being allowed to be on the desk there. Like, Ohio State played this all wrong. They controlled the narrative, and they did maybe the number one thing to get people to make fun of the team that just won the national championship. Yeah. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. What are they doing?
I don't know. And like I said earlier, just to reemphasize, this is the best thing they could have done for Portnoy. I This is what he wants because you have everyone in the country talking about him, right? It's just, I don't know, incredibly weak.
If you're Fox, if you were gonna and I get that Ohio State is a massive draw and they make Fox a lot of money. I totally understand that. This is all about business. I get it. But then why did you hire Portnoy? Why'd you do like it was everyone said it, hey, it was Fox's counter to what ESPN's got with McAfee. Why'd you do it if you're just gonna
Fold that easy in the first game?
It's crazy. And then to pull the plug on the Barstool college football show when they had everything lined up, it's a lot of weak actions in this entire scenario, Ted. I don't know.
It really is. And it's always moves like this that you want to use your weight and throw it around a little bit to get your way, and it proves the exact opposite of what you're trying to do. So again, like you're right. How much of the conversation around the game leading up to it is going to be about this specific scenario and not about the football game? Well, a lot. And if you don't win, it's like you've just added a bunch of fuel to the fire if you happen to not play well. So bad move, loser of the week.
They're going to unveil the year for the national championship. And there's going to be a bunch of people that gone, oh, I wish Portnoy was here to watch us unveil that. Would have been great. The reaction to them unveiling that and him being there as a Michigan guy.
Instead, they're going to unveil it probably underneath an airplane flying around the stadium, pulling some type of derogatory phrase behind it. That's more likely what the scenario is going to be now.
Ross Bjork coming out and be like, no, we didn't ban him. Well, then why is he not going to be there?
Right.
Tell us, Ross. This was a Fox decision. Was it? I don't know. The whole thing's stupid. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. Winner of the week, Ted. It's the biggest story in the country, maybe the biggest story in the world. We got to talk about it. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged.
Hey, power couple is here.
Buddy, you thought him having her on the podcast was a big deal. Engagement, much bigger deal.
Very big. Very big.
Do you care about this?
No, I don't care about this. However, I'm forced at gunpoint to follow it by my wife. My wife does care about it. So
I think many men are in your situation.
I play along.
There's a lot to unpack here. I will say this. I've been able to hang out with Travis Kelce a handful of times. And he is one of the nicest, coolest, down-to-earth, famous dudes I've ever been around. Maybe the coolest, famous person I've ever been around. He is awesome. And could not have been nicer to me, could not have been nicer to my wife every time we spent time with him. The guy is an absolute gem. I'm really happy that he found love, man. Like, I'm excited for him. He's a good dude. I'm excited that like this is happening for him. And I mean that sincerely. And Taylor Swift has spent her entire career, it seems like, writing songs about heartbreak and wanting to find that guy, and she's found him. It's kind of an awesome story.
What is she going to do now for material?
Write incredible songs about being happy. It's going to be a change up, but it's going to, all of that talent, I think she's a genius. All that talent is now going to be pumped into being happy and writing songs. And we're going to get some of the best love song bangers we've ever gotten. It's going to be amazing.
I'm happy for him, honestly, but I am kind of shocked. When the whole thing, when this first started and how it's built, I I didn't see it lasting. Now, I think listening to you talk about how great of a guy he is, I think that's a great factor. And I don't know him, so it's just my, 1,000-yard view of the situation. I don't know how much is there. Like, nice guy, but I guess I just the match seems odd to me. But whatever. If they
Listen,
are,
bud, if you knew me in high school and you knew my wife in high school, people would go, "What? They have how many kids? What?"
so
It
maybe
happens.
with the introduction to Taylor Swift and her orbit, maybe he's blossomed. Perhaps that's the case. But I wish him the best of luck.
I don't think anyone, now there are a lot of Taylor Swift fans out there that are like just frankly too invested in her life. Let's be real, people. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure anyone's happier than Roger Goodell and the NFL executives. I bet you they were popping champagne in that office when it came out just because they already dominate this country. But it was probably like Christmas in August for them. They were going, yes, yes. This just it because I I know there are a lot of people that are very annoyed about how much time she gets on broadcasts. But that the number of those people that are annoyed by her are vastly outnumbered by the number of people that she's gotten to start watching NFL football. It's crazy. Like people that never said anything to me about football ever are now like, "Oh yeah, I watch every Chiefs game." I'm like, "What?"
My wife, she is that she is the specific person you're talking about. And what's funny is, the NFL is like so immersed in American culture that in order to keep growing, what do? They go play games all over Europe,
The
Brazil.
Chiefs are playing their opener in Brazil on September 5th against the Chargers.
They're trying to find new fans in order to continue to grow the NFL. And to something of not even their own doing, a relationship has probably grown the NFL viewership more than all of their European games combined, just by Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce coming together. Like, I wonder, like, what it demographically and ratings wise, what it actually looks like. And I'm sure you can see it, and I'm sure people know about it. I don't know the numbers, but it has to have changed things in a pretty substantial way.
It's going to boost some Travis Kelce jersey sales for sure. It could, if he was willing to do it, and I know guys that have done it. If he was willing to hyphenate that last name, he would be the number one selling jersey of all time.
Kelce Swift.
Kelce Swift, 87.
Wow.
May sell a billion of them. It's not going to happen, but may sell a billion of them.
So
Does she hyphenate the name? Does she keep? Is all of a sudden, is she Taylor Kelce?
There is
No way.
no way.
Right. Fair.
No way.
She's like the most famous person in the world. Yeah.
Right.
Probably just keeping the name.
She might say, "Hey, listen, between us, like, I'm Taylor Kelce, but we're not we're not changing anything else." What's the rule on? I know if you change numbers, you have to buy. Don't you have to buy like the all of the backlog of all your jerseys that have been made?
Yeah,
But
something like that. It's pretty like an intense penalty, especially if someone as famous as Travis Kelce.
I have a feeling they may waive that fee if he were to hyphenate.
Hyphenate or I've always pretended I know why 13's important to Taylor Swift. I don't know why. I really don't. But if he changed to number 13, I'm told that that would sell a lot of jerseys too. I
Yeah.
I I don't know why, but I'm just told that that would happen. I'm told
Well,
there would be a boom in sales.
here's the thing though, with with the financial situation of these two, uh it feels like selling jerseys may fall very low on the priority list. I mean,
That's fair.
it probably comes out as a blip on the radar at the end of the year for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, but still, it would sell.
I'll I'll just tell you right now, if I was ESPN, I am in immediate talks to stream that wedding on ESPN Plus for 99.99. I'm just saying. I'm
Be
just
the
saying.
easiest money they ever made, right?
Just the ceremony. You don't, not the reception. Can't have my guy Blake Bell on camera getting after it on the dance floor. Can't have that happening. But it is yeah, it's a good idea. 99.99 ESPN Plus. All right. I think they'd sell quite a few. We'll
That'd
see
be
if it's
great.
Kelsey's last season. Kind of feels that way.
Yeah,
About to marry arguably the most famous person in the world.
he
Kind of destined
has.
for acting, that type of thing.
Yeah, it. You really saw. You really. I think you really saw the age and everything catch up to him last year, especially during the regular season. Um, I I kind of feel like this may be the swan song.
Well, they are on FanDuel, they are plus 800 to win the Super Bowl, fourth best odds behind the Ravens, Bills, and Eagles. So clearly, still very high expectations in Kansas
Taylor
City
Swift at halftime.
of a Super Bowl.
That's what her
Wedding
fans think.
ceremony, halftime of the Super Bowl.
Her fans think that's what's happening.
If they make it, that'd be sick. Like, let's be real, that'd be
Yep.
a bunch of people would be annoyed, but
Oh
you
well, I mean,
you can not like Taylor Swift and all the attention she gets on NFL Sundays now and still acknowledge she has bangers. Like, come on.
if like fire up the conspiracy machine, if she is announced as the Super Bowl halftime entertainment, then uh and the Chiefs happen to get there, it would be I mean, the Chief haters would come out. It would be the greatest content in history leading up to it. Every flag, every penalty, everything that happens will be written by the NFL to get the Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
This podcast is going to be very long, so let's get to loser. That was a lot on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I'm going the Big 12 as my loser of the week because the conference better look out. There's just simply no way Oklahoma State will be terrible with a starting quarterback named Hauss. I mean, come on. Multiple reports that the Pokes will start Hauss Hejny at quarterback. It feels like destiny. Hauss leading the Pokes offense. Yeah, it's perfect. Now, it feels very on brand. There's no way they're going to be terrible again, right? 3-9 a season ago.
What do you consider terrible?
Can I a quiz? How about that? Are you ready?
Yep.
Do you know FanDuel's win total for Oklahoma State?
I don't. I'm guessing 4.
It is 4.5.
4.5.
It is the lowest win total in the entire Big 12 conference. Expectations are not high in Stillwater, which is kind of crazy. Remember when OU and Texas were leaving and the conversation was, Who can be the new team that dominates the league? And Oklahoma State was in every one of those conversations.
They were set up. It looked like they were set to go last year and didn't happen.
I won't lie though. Them having a quarterback named Hauss, and I know that Flores is going to play as well. I read the reports. But them having a quarterback named Hauss makes me think they're going to have a better season than expected. That is terrible analysis, but it's just how I feel, okay?
Well, I have the same terrible analysis. I'm just going off the reverse theory. When you think Gundy's teams are going to be bad, they're really good. And when you think they're going to be really good, they're not. So considering they have the lowest win total, that bodes well for them. It boded well for Arizona State last year, West Virginia the year before. It's the same spot in the Big 12, isn't it?
They've basically got a whole new football team in Stillwater.
Yep.
With all the transfers. I went through their depth chart that they put out. Yeah, they got a new DC in Todd Grantham, new offense coordinator in Doug Meacham. I went through their depth chart. It's crazy how few names I recognized on there. A couple of the names I recognized, I only recognized them because they were at OU before they went there.
Yeah.
Gavin Freeman. And how about this? Top of the depth chart at running back for the Pokes, our guy Caleb Hicks.
I'm excited about that for him.
So am I. He
think
always looked the part.
With consistent carries and consistent starting reps, I think, you got to be able to block and do things up front, but I think he could be really good.
Let me know if you disagree. Since Bedlam is not being played, I find myself cheering for Oklahoma State to win football games.
Yeah.
I've never felt that feeling, but I don't want them to be terrible. I don't want them to go 3-9. I don't think that's good for the state of Oklahoma as a whole.
Right.
So come on, Mike.
I want them. I like when they win because I'm just a huge Mike Gundy fan. I think he's hilarious. Whenever things flip and all of a sudden he's got a good football team, he becomes like a content machine. So I want the content. Give me Oklahoma State flipping the script on everyone. I think that'd be awesome.
Rack up some wins, Oklahoma State. We cannot have the state of Oklahoma being the laughing stock of the Big 12 when OU dominated that league. Come on, guys. Pick it up. Let's roll.
Pick it up. I'm excited for him. I really hope Hicks gets things rolling for him.
In Hauss we trust.
I'll tell you, I'm a fan of Meacham's offenses. Whenever some of the stuff that he was doing at TCU was great.
Be interesting to see how it goes for the Pokes. Win total 4.5.
Woo.
Go prove everyone wrong, boys. Let's go. Come on.
Beat Oregon week 2 on the road. Just go shock the nation.
Why not? Weirder things have happened. Why not? Birthday shout outs. Happy first birthday to Pirate Grace Powell.
I love that. Happy 3rd birthday to Ninja Turtle Banjo Powell.
Look at the pals. Great nicknames.
Creative household. I love it.
Yeah. Happy 7th birthday to Caroline Gentry.
Happy 29th birthday to Viral Suthar.
Think you nailed it. Nailed it. Think you nailed it. All that talk about Hauss has me talking and nailed it. Happy 30th birthday to Chago Flores.
Happy 49th birthday to Brad Peltier.
Happy birthday to Bryce Eaton.
And happy anniversary to Brock and Crystal Eaton.
A robust first preview episode of the season. The interview won't be as long as it was with Coach Spack typically, so we'll be able to whittle that down a little bit. But on that note, episode 558 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Sunday. Clearly, we'll recap what happens between the Sooners and Redbirds and the other great games of week one. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.
Boom.